Alright, so I'm just going to give a quick demonstration of how this tool could be used. There's going to be a lot of different ways that people are able to use this kind of data. How you're able to use it is going to be completely in your court and depend on what you're doing with it. Uh, Now, a lot of people don't have data logging. They don't have an ESC with the ability to data log every run that they do, so they don't have as much information to work with as someone who does have data logging. Now, the minimum that you're going to need in order for this tool to work is a speed GPS. I have the Sky RC GPS speed meter. That's basically all you really need in order to use this tool to get a lot of information that you're going to want about your setup and what's going on with the gearing and the motor and etc. So for a quick demonstration of this tool and how to use it, the first data that you're going to need to put in is going to be the rated motor kV. So this doesn't need to be the absolute 100% spot on motor kV because we're going to edit this again later. But this should be roughly what the motor's maximum kV specifications are. Now, when it comes to sensor motors, it's going to vary with how much timing you put into the motor, but usually we're talking about on the top end when you have as maximum timing as you can without burning the motor up, and usually you should be able to get a rough estimate of this, but it's not 100% needed. You just need the rated specs, or roughly what the rated specs are. Then of course you have to put in the information from your RC, how many lipo cells you're running, the pinion gear you have, the spur gear you have, and the size of the tires. You might have to vary this depending on how much ballooning you have. That should be taken into account when inputting this data. And then you go outside, you take the kit for a run, you hit the street, and you do a pull with it. That's going to give you your mile per hour off the GPS or off the trap for the quarter mile mark. So when you come back and input your mile per hour data, that is going to complete our output data over here. So based on the speed that we hit and the gearing that we have, the RPM, the peak RPM that we would have hit on that run at that speed is going to be about 48,767 RPM, and that's going to roughly give us a peak motor kV of 6,590. Now, if we're going to compare this to the maximum rated motor kV, which was 9,000, that would have given us a theoretical 66,600 RPM, which would have been a theoretical 88.8 miles per hour. Now, because on the street in an RC on load, you're never going to reach the full peak of the rated kV of the motor. So what we have here is we have a difference between 9,000 and 6,590 kV. So that shows us that the efficiency between what we're actually able to achieve and what the actual rated specs of the motor are is about a 73% efficiency rate. So now that's the first step. So just basically from this, the one run, we were able to get the miles per hour, the peak RPM, and the actual peak motor kV that we were able to hit. So now that we know what the peak motor kV that we were actually able to hit is, we then input that data over here. So we put in 6590. Now that's going to match the theoretical data because it's no longer theoretical. This is what we actually were able to achieve, and we have now a maximum motor kV that's not theoretical. This is not rated. This is what what we were actually able to achieve with these gearings and this speed, etc. So now when you want to make a change to the gearing, let's say we want to increase the gearing on the pinion gear. So we want to increase that to a 30-tooth pinion. Alright, so with a 30-tooth pinion, that gives us a new theoretical top speed of 69.6 miles per hour, increased from what we were able to hit 65 before with the 6590 motor KV. So now what we have to do is we have to go out and do another hit with the car and see what kind of speeds we were able to hit. Now hopefully we get as close to 69.6 as possible. Now usually when you're increasing speed, you're going to reduce the efficiency slightly, so we might not hit 69.6. Let's say we hit 69. So we go over here, we put in 69 as the new speed that we would have actually hit with the RC. And then that shows us the new RPM we were able to hit, the KV for that RPM, and it shows the difference between what we were able to peak at with that lower gearing. So it shows you the efficiency loss as we're increasing the gearing. I mean, really at this point I'm still working on it, so it really depends on input that I get from you guys, and plus how this actually works in the field. I'm gonna have to do some field testing with it once I get all my stuff set up, and after that we'll see if some changes need to be made, see if any improvements need to be made. If you guys have any suggestions, I'm open to hearing what you guys have to say. So with that, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more.